I know why you clicked on this video. You clicked on it for one out of two reasons. First reason, you thought, what's going on there? Why is that dude so fucking ugly? Second possible reason, you thought, I'm a virgin already, why should I not also become a magician? And if you're here for that reason, I will help you today because I will teach you the first 3 steps you need to learn in order to become a sleight of hand artist. So let's jump right into it. When people ask me, Malte, how do I become a sleight of hand artist? Or how do I get into magic in general? I often say card tricks. Not because card tricks are my personal favorite, but because there is such a huge variety of card tricks, from beginner to intermediate to expert level tricks and sleights that you can learn. So yeah, I really like to start teaching people magic using cards and card tricks. And we will talk about the first 3 basics that you should learn when starting to get into magic and into sleight of hands using cards. First of which is control. So in this tutorial, I'm not only going to talk about what you should learn, but I'm also going to give you some inside tips and also some actual techniques that you can use, so you're not there standing with these 3 things and then you are like, well, how do I do them? Because I'm going to teach you some easy techniques in this tutorial as well. So when talking about control, we are basically talking about control over the deck. So let me give you a slight example what I mean when I talk about control over the deck. So we select a random card just like this, and then we're going to place it into the middle. All right, shift it in there, and I have the control over the deck and can control it to the top, or by shuffling the deck, control it to the bottom or anywhere I really like. So control actually means that we have control over one card or an entire deck as we wish, and this is really the basic, the core of every good sleight of hand card trick out there, or actually of many sleight of hand card tricks out there. I don't want to say of every good, because there are crazy sleight of hand routines without using a control, but a control is basically the core or the base, the foundation, if you will, that every sleight of hand trick on there stands. And I will now teach you a basic technique for a sleight of hand control using a deck of playing cards. So grab your deck and move along as I will teach you this control. So this card control that I'm going to teach you right now is called the double undercut. I think I've covered this in another video more specifically. If I did so, then I will leave you a link up here or up here where you can check that out as well. But let's go over the basics. What you want to do, you want to have the spectators select a card, really any card they like, and we are going to control it to the top. Here's what's going to happen. The card is going to go into the deck, and then what you're going to do is you do 1, 2 or 3 cuts as you like. You're going to snap and the card is going to jump to the top. And here's how it's going to work. When you do these cuts and you control the card to the top, you first of all want to have a gap in here which indicates you where the card is located. So you're not gonna push it in like this, but a little bit sideways like this, right? So you get a little out jog here where your pinky finger is, which you're gonna then push down and then bring the card all the way in. What that does is that you have this pinky break, and I'm doing it here a little extreme. You basically want to hold it like this, but for demonstration purposes, I'm gonna stick my whole fucking pinky in there, and it's gonna look something like that. And then what you're gonna do is a double undercut. So you're gonna hold the break with your thumb, take the hand out, and then basically just grab packs from the bottom, as many as you like, looks like this. And then at last you're out jogged, so your break packet like this, move it to the top, and that way you control, I don't know what this shit is doing here, and that way you control this card to the top. This technique is a beginner friendly technique. It's called the double undercut, and just like that you can control any card to the top. If you want to control the card to the bottom, there are some different techniques. You could start off by doing a double undercut like this, controlling it to the top, and then, I don't know, shuffle or something, and then you control it to the bottom. While doing this overhand shuffle, what that does is basically just split off the first card and then overhand shuffle on top. it is really simple. You could also do something like a classical shuffle right here, where you keep the card on top to distract, or do some false cuts where you also keep the card on top. I've covered all of these in different videos, but this is basically the control you want to have over your deck. You as a magician always should know where your spectator card is located, or should know where every single card is located, depends on the trick, or where some cards are located. And this is really the foundation that every or most of the good tricks are built on. Second step you want to know is your finisher. So I call it that way. I don't know any other verb to call this. If you have any suggestions what to call this instead of a finisher, I don't know, it sounds something like out of a fighting movie, then leave it down in the comments if you know any better words for this. What I mean with a finisher is something fancy. And something fancy is, or a finisher is oftentimes used by magicians after your control, after your initial effect, to basically make your presentation a little bit more round, to have this wow effect. And these finishers almost every time use a slide, and slides, you need to practice them in order to look good. So if you want to do a finisher or a fancy thing to round off your performance like this, or for example like something like this, then you need to practice. And this is really the core of sleight of hand magic: practice, 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 so your stuff looks good. But let's talk more specifically about our finisher, when to use them, how to use them, and then I will teach you a finisher. So you want to use your finishers at the end of your trick. You can use them at the start of the trick as well, but it wouldn't make that much sense to me, because it's something like the highest point of your trick, the point that will really get the reaction from the spectator, that will really make them go wow. And this is also the thing that your spectator will remember after you left them, after the trick is over. They will remember this wow effect, where the card appeared out of nowhere, where the card changed from nowhere like this, where something so spectacular happened that they can't explain in their mind how that worked. So this is basically how and when to use your finisher at the end of your trick, to reveal the spectator card or to reveal the card that was selected. It really rounds off most performances and makes them pretty. I will now teach you a really easy finisher, which is called the snap change. Looks something like this. I've made a tutorial on how to make your snap change better, which is linked somewhere up here. You can check that out, but now we're gonna learn the basic technique of the snap change. All right, so once again, here's what your snap change will look like. Something like this, but without the flash, hopefully. And the snap change is really an easy beginner technique that almost anybody can learn within like 10 or 20 minutes. And it really looks good, it looks flashy, it looks cool, it looks good on camera, it looks good in person. It is a quite simple but useful technique to know. Also, many people can't imagine how this is done, and they don't know how this is done. So yeah, this is also a thing that makes the snap change great. So there are not many ways to perform a snap change. The basic technique is this. You're gonna hold two cards. All right, hold two cards in this position, two fingers on top and your thumb on the back like this. And then all you're gonna perform is a snap, as if you were snapping with your fingers like this. And this is basically the motion. Practice this motion, then take the cards in your hand and execute the motion. And you really want to do this fast. If I do it in slow-mo, it would look something like this. Boom. And this is basically your snap change. Just like that, you changed one card into another. Something that I always say, don't start off like this, because the spectators will see the difference, that there were two fingers and then there's only one. So you can start off with this finger like that, and then you're gonna shake, come up with this hand, open it up, snap change, and you're gonna end up with one finger again. So here's how you use it in your routine. You basically want to use the control that you've learned in the first step to control your card, so the spectator card, onto the top. Here's how that could look. Spectator card, double undercut, as you've just learned, control to the top. Then you want to perform a double lift. I've made some videos on the double lift before. I will link them to you as well. Perform a double lift, and now you have two cards in your hand. All right, the spectator card behind the card that you just lifted, and then you're going to perform a snap change like this, boom, and you reveal the spectator card has appeared. And you're probably always wondering, where the frick did that card go that was just here? And what I usually do when having this, I just come over with my deck like that, lay it on top without the spectator noticing, and then I can show it around and show that there's not two cards. Something else you could do is coming over like this and then revealing it, and also in the same motion, like grabbing it with your deck. This is also something you could do. Yeah, these are basically the basic techniques for a snap change. Look on your angle. So if you have a spectator standing around you, don't do a snap change, because from the side they will see what's going on. Also practice in a mirror so you know the height, because when I'm doing it down here, you will always be able to see it. When I'm doing it up here, you will probably also be able to see the card. So have it on the right angle to the camera or to the person that you're performing it for, and then get ready, get into your snap change and make your trick great. And just with these two steps, you can already do a card routine, a card performance. Let me explain that to you. You have the spectator select a card, you're gonna place it into the deck, then you're gonna do your control it to the top, you're gonna do a double lift, and then snap change and change to the spectator card out of nowhere. And that is a pretty powerful control, but what will make it even more powerful is our step number 3. Step number 3 for getting into sleight of hand is, who could have thought, presentation. For me, one of the most important things in sleight of hand or magic in general. I mean, in sleight of hand, it's not so much about the language, about what you say, but it is really important, trust me. And in general magic, it is even more important. It is traditionally important because everyone has been doing it every single time. I bet you haven't seen a great magic act where the magician is just silent and not talking and don't use his body language or anything. I think you probably haven't seen that, because that would be a really boring act and it would just be technically focused, and it would not be as great as these magicians doing flashy jokes, using their humor, telling a story, or really anything. I think that's what really makes magic really great. It is the presentation, and now we're going to talk about how to present magic trick the right way. Alright guys, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to present the same trick to you in 2 different ways, and you're going to tell me which one was better in the end. So here's the trick. At first, I want you to select a card. I would usually hand you the deck and have you look through it, that they're all different, that they're all mixed up, but it's not that easy through the camera, so I'm just gonna give you this card and pretend like I don't know what card it is. Obviously, I see it in that camera monitor, but it doesn't matter. Let's pretend that I don't know that this is the 2 of spades. So I'm gonna stick it somewhere into the deck, like this, right? So it goes in there, and it is really lost, but in case you don't trust me that it's lost, I will shuffle a little more. I will cut the deck a couple times like this, so the card is really lost somewhere in there. So here's the funny thing, all right? Because I'm a magician now, I can do magic tricks. I will find your card, and it's not that hard to find because it already lays on top, right? So this is your, oh, it's not. Damn it, okay. Well, that was unexpected and pretty bad. Well, I might need to practice that trick a little more, but I mean, I'm still a magician, so I can basically just change any card into your card, right? And here's the second performance. Pick a card. So please let me know which performance you like more. In case you said 2, well then I think I can't help you. You should turn off the video right now. In case you selected 1, then your soul is not absolutely lost and you like good presentation. And just as I try to do myself, I know I'm not the best at presenting magic tricks myself, but you could be. And if you have a little humor and a little intuition for your audience, then you will become a great performer. Always think of a story, think of something to tell before you do your trick. So don't come up with it on the fly. I mean, you can do that, but most of the stories will not make as much sense because you will also try to concentrate on your handwork, on your slides. And this is what I oftentimes also already struggle with still until today, is to perform my slides correctly and still tell a story that halfway makes sense. But trust me, it's better than saying nothing. If you have these performances that don't say anything, just stand there and perform the sleight of hand. I mean, the slide could be as good as you want. If the story or the authenticity is not as great, then your slide won't be either. So always remember, tell a story, make a great presentation, and it's not like in class where you stand there and say, thanks for listening to my presentation. Today we will talk about swordfish. It is about gesture, it's about happiness. It's a great thing that you do. It will make them go wow, and you should present it as if this is the greatest thing they will ever see. And if you really believe in that, then they might too, and you will perform a great magic trick. And that, my friends, was part 3 of the 3 things to get into sleight of hand or into magic in general. And I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did so, please leave a like. If you hated it, then dislike. Also consider subscribing. Every new subscriber will get a cookie. It won't get better today. Bye.